Hi guys! Today I thought I'd talk to you about a couple of my OCs that I've made. Why? Because I can. Yeah. I'm not the person who makes a lot of OCs. I mean, I'll make them for my own books, but I won't make them for like, fandoms and stuff. When I was really into Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog, I found this really cool little meme thing on DeviantArt. You know, those things where ask you questions and you like draw answers to them and things. And for this one, it was a create your own villain in the Dr. Horrible universe. I was like, oh, that seems fun. I'll do it, why not? And I spent like a couple of days just coming up with what I wanted for these answers. And I created this villain named Arson. She was this kind of gothic looking girl, and by gothic I mean stuff you can buy at like Hot Topic. Like the cool part of Hot Topic, not the meme part of Hot Topic. She had those, I don't know what the pants are called, but the cool pants that are like black and they have colors on, and they have like highlights of colors on them, and they have chains in the back, but sometimes instead of chains they have ribbons. Like that. She had the black pants with red highlights and red ribbons. And then this cool little sweatshirt thing that zipped up really weird. It went like that and then down. And the collar came up to like her mouth. And I'll show a picture here. Here is a picture. Ooh, look, Arson. If you couldn't tell by her villain name, she could control fire. She was pyrokinetic. And her real name was Kala. K-A-L-A. Kala. Then I had to create a nemesis for her, so I created River, aka Nixie. She was, I guess, hydrokinetic, is that a word? She could control water. Ha, fire, water, look how clever I am. And after I did the little meme thing, I kind of got attached to these characters I created. In my head, I started building up this little fanfiction and fanfiction world kind of thing where these characters existed. And I never actually finished writing the fanfiction. I got like 8 chapters in, and I never put it up online. I'm not even sure where it is now. I'm sure it's somewhere in my room. I had everything planned out in my head, but I just couldn't write it down. Basically, Arson, Kala Arson, becomes Dr. Horrible's new henchman because he needed one after he joined the ELE. He couldn't have Moist as a henchman because they were like, he's not a good enough henchman, all he does is sweat and make things wet. Dr. Horrible finds out that Captain Hammer is going back into the crime fighting business, because at the end of Dr. Horrible you see him kind of not fighting crime anymore. He has a new sidekick, who is River. Eventually, like, Billy finds out that Penny's still alive through Kala. There's a bunch of fighting between, like, Dr. Horrible and Arson and Captain Hammer and River, and they fight all the time. There's a lot of scuffles. At one point, they're fighting in, like, this abandoned building, and it collapses down on them. I swear I didn't get that idea from Fullmetal Alchemist. There's this one fight. After the fight, Dr. Horrible, Billy, whatever you want to call him, he gets brain damage, so then he goes into this coma. And Penny finds out and, visits him in the hospital and stuff, and then she's there when he wakes up, and then it's like, yay, romantic moment, and they finally kiss, and yay, they're together now. But during that time, while Billy was in a coma, I put kind of like a time lapse from when it happened to him waking up. But Arson goes from being just his henchman to being an actual member of the ELE herself. Also, River goes from being a sidekick to being a part of the Heroes Guild? What is it called? I don't know, but she's a full member of that as well. There's like this war that's about to break out between all the heroes and all the villains, not just the ones in, like, the ELE and the Heroes Guild, but just everybody. And there's already kind of like, you know, battles going on, because that's how villains and heroes work, is they're constantly fighting. But it's like a full-blown war kind of thing that's about to happen. Everybody decides that they have to like end the war somehow make someone win, because there's so much chaos and destruction going on. So what they do is they have a big fight in like an arena and everything between the ELE and the Heroes Guild. That ends up kind of being a draw because everybody is equally matched or something. The two people who were the best fighters that weren't too hurt from that initial battle between the ELE and the Heroes Guild had to go one-on-one and fight each other that way. Arson was the best fighter for the ELE just because she could control fire like she could, but she was too severely injured from the battle to be able to actually do the one-on-one fight. But it ends up being a fight between Dr. Horrible and Captain Hammer. Arson's in the hospital, so she can't go watch, and then, you know, the thing she hears from the battle is that Dr. Horrible is dead. At this point in the timeline, like, they're like besties, even though there's a giant age difference between them. Throughout this timeline, throughout the war, basically, Arson realizes that the ELE, that she isn't really a villain, that she doesn't really belong in the ELE. Like how Dr. Horrible considered himself a villain, but he wasn't villainous, you know? But she was more evil and sadistic than him, but she still, she figures out she doesn't belong in the ELE. So when she finds out that Dr. Horrible died, he didn't actually die, shh. Spoiler alert. She goes and she fakes her death, because the only way out of the ELE is to die. And I had like 3 little books kind of going on, and that was like the end of the first one. This is going to be fun to edit. It is 16 minutes and I talk a lot. But goodbye, my friends. Enjoy this information that you have no use for. Ha!